and welcome to my playthrough of Lone Wolf Book 1, Flight from the Dark. To play this game book, I am using the very good 7th Sense application, which enables me to play the game books online. The books have been downloaded from the Project Aeon website, and you can also download the 7th Sense app through the Project Aeon website as well. What I'm going to do, I'm going to be playing this book hopefully without any cheating or any fudging of rolls or anything. So hopefully we'll be able to progress quite far through this series. So to start off with, we need to create our character, and we need to create the character's combat skill and endurance point scores. So first we pick combat skill, so we need to pick a number from the random number table and add 10 to the score. Wow, and we got an 8, which is not bad. So that will give us 18 combat skill. The second number that we pick will be the endurance point score. So we need to pick a number from the random number table and add 20. 3, not so good, but I think we can manage with that. So next we need to choose our Kai disciplines, where it says over the centuries the Kai monks have mastered the skills of the warrior. These skills are now known as Kai disciplines, and they are taught to all the Kai lords. We have learnt only 5 of the skills listed below, the choice of which 5 skills these are is for you to make. As all of the disciplines will be of use to you at some point on your perilous quest, pick your 5 with care. The correct use of a discipline at the right time can save your life. When you have chosen your 5 disciplines, enter them in the Kai discipline section on your action chart. Okay, now I've actually played these books quite a few times in the past, and I usually pick the very first 5 Kai disciplines that are listed here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start off with camouflage, which enables the Kai Lord to blend in with his surroundings. In the countryside, he can hide undetected amongst trees and rocks and pass close to an enemy without being seen. In a town or city, it enables him to look and sound like a native of that area and can help him to find shelter or a safe hiding place. The second one I'll pick will be hunting. This skill enables a Kai Lord that he will never starve in the wild. He will always be able to hunt for food for himself, except in areas of wasteland and desert. The skill also enables a Kai Lord to be able to move stealthily when stalking his prey. The third one I shall have is Sixth Sense. This skill may warn a Kai Lord of imminent danger. It may also reveal the true purpose of a stranger or a strange object encountered in your adventure. The fourth one will be tracking. This skill enables a Kai Lord to make the correct choice of a path in the wild, to discover the location of a person or object in a town or city, and to read the secrets of footprints and tracks. And the final one I shall take will be healing. This discipline can be used to restore endurance points lost in combat. If you possess this skill, you may restore 1 endurance points to your total for every numbered section of the book you pass through in which you are not involved in combat. This is only to be used after your endurance has fallen below its original level. Remember that your endurance cannot rise to above its original level. Okay, well we can't choose any more, but if we do go through the first book, we will be able to choose a second Kai discipline. Okay, next, equipment. You are dressed in the green tunic and cloak of a Kai initiate. You have little with you to arm yourself for your survival. All you possess is an axe, note under weapons on your action chart, and a backpack containing 1 mil, note under mills on your action chart. Hanging from your waist is a leather pouch containing gold crowns. To find out how many, pick a number from the random number table. Okay, and we've only got 1, which is not so good. Okay, this number equals the number of gold crowns you possess at the start of the adventure. Note the number in the belt pouch section of the action chart. You discover amongst the smoking ruins of the monastery a map of Sommerland. Note under the special items on the action chart. Showing the capital city of Holmgard and the land of Durinor far to the east. You place the map inside your tunic for safety. You also find one of the following. To discover which of the above you find, you must pick a number from the random number table and find the corresponding article on the list. Note this on your action chart under the heading given in brackets and make a note of any effect it may have on your endurance points. Okay, what have we got? Number 2, which is, we got a helmet, which adds 2 points to our endurance points score. Okay, the good thing about this application is that it actually keeps track of all your scores of all combat and like healing and what items you possess, so you don't have to do too much bookkeeping. Nor do we need to know about the rules of combat, for again the application will actually do all that for us. Okay, levels of Kai training. The following table is a guide to the rank and titles that are bestowed upon Kai Lords at each stage of their training. As you successfully complete each adventure in this Lone Wolf series, you'll gain an additional Kai discipline and gradually progress towards mastery of the 10 basic Kai disciplines. Okay, and we start off at number 5, which is an initiate. Beyond the 10 basic skills of the Kai Master, await the secrets of the higher Kai disciplines, or Magna Kai. By acquiring the wisdom of the Magna Kai, a Kai Lord can progress beyond the ultimate achievement and become a Kai Grand Master. Okay, so what I shall do, I shall go back and we will start the adventure with the story so far. In the northern land of Sommerland, it has been the custom for many centuries to send the children of the warrior lords to the monastery of Kai. There they are taught the skills and disciplines of their noble fathers. The Kai monks are masters of their art, and the children in their charge love and respect them, in spite of the hardships of their training. For one day, when they have finally learnt the secret skills of the Kai, they will return to their homes, equipped in mind and body, to defend themselves against the constant threat of war from the Dark Lords of the West. In olden times, during the Age of the Black Moon, the Dark Lords waged war on Sommerland. The conflict was a long and bitter trial of strength that ended in victory for the Somlending at the Great Battle of Meikengorge. King Alnar and the allies of Durinor broke the Dark Lord armies at the pass of Moitura and forced them back into the bottomless abyss of Meikengorge. Vashna, mightiest of the Dark Lords, was slain upon the sword of King Ulnar, called Sommersword, the Sword of the Sun. Since that age, the Dark Lords have vowed vengeance upon Sommerland and the House of Ulnar. Now it is in the morning of the Feast of Feimarn, when all of the Kai Lords are present at the monastery for the celebrations. Suddenly, a great black cloud comes out from the western skies. So many are the numbers of the black-winged beasts that fill the sky that the sun is completely hidden. The Dark Lords, ancient enemy of the Somlending, are attacking. War has begun. On this fateful morning, you, Silent Wolf, the name given to you by the Kai, have been sent to collect firewood in the forest as a punishment for your inattention in class. As you are preparing to return, you see to your horror a vast cloud of black leathery creatures sweep down and engulf the monastery. Dropping the wood, you race to the battle that has already begun, but in the unnatural dark you stumble and strike your head on a low tree branch. As you lose consciousness, the last thing that you see in the poor light are the walls of the monastery crashing to the ground. Many hours pass before you awake. With tears in your eyes, you now survey the scene of destruction. Raising your face to the clear sky, you swear vengeance on the Dark Lords for the massacre of the Kai warriors. And with a sudden flash of realization, you know what you must do. You must set off on a perilous journey to the capital city to warn the king of the terrible threat that now faces his people. For you are now the last of the Kai. You are now the Lone Wolf. Your mission will be one of great danger, for the Dark Lords and their servants are a cruel and fierce enemy who give and expect no mercy. Use the map to help you steer a correct course for the capital. Make notes as you progress through the story, for they will be of great help in future adventures. Many things that you will find will aid you during the adventure. Some special items will be of use in future Lone Wolf adventures, and others may be red herrings, of no real use at all, so be selective in what you decide to keep. There are many routes to the king, but only one involves a minimum of danger. With a wise choice of Kai disciplines and a great deal of courage, any player should be able to complete the mission, no matter how weak their initial combat skill or endurance point score. The honour and memory of the Kai Lords will go with you on your perilous journey. Good luck. Begin. You must make haste, for you sense it is not safe to linger by the smoking remains of the ruined monastery. The black-winged beasts could return at any moment. You must set out for the Somlending capital of Holmgard and tell the king the terrible news of the massacre, that the whole elite of Kai warriors, save yourself, have been slaughtered. Without the Kai lords to lead her armies, Sommerland will be at the mercy of their ancient enemy, the Dark Lords. Fighting back tears, you bid farewell to your dead kinsmen. Silently you promise that their deaths will be avenged. You turn away from the ruins and carefully descend the steep track. At the foot of the hill, the path splits into two directions, both leading into a large wood. If you wish to use your Kai discipline of Sixth Sense, turn to 141. If you wish to take the right path into the wood, turn to 85. And if you wish to follow the left track, turn to 275. Okay, well, since we have the Kai discipline of Sixth Sense, I think we should use that. Your Sixth Sense has warned you that some of the creatures that attacked the monastery are searching the two paths for any survivors of their raid, but you can avoid both tracks by making your way through the undergrowth of the woods. If you wish to head south, turn to 56, or if you wish to cut through the heavier foliage towards the northeast, turn to 333. Okay, so I think we shall avoid both tracks and go through the heavier foliage. You have cut your way through the thick undergrowth for nearly half an hour when you hear the beat of wings high above the trees. Looking up, you can just make out the shape of a Kraan approaching from the north. It is one of the monsters that attacked the monastery, and on its back are two grey-skinned creatures armed with long spears. These are mountain Gaiaks, evil servants of the Dark Lords, full of hatred and malice. Many centuries ago, their ancestors were used by the Dark Lords to build the infernal city of Helgidad, which lies in the volcanic wastelands beyond the Derncrag range of mountains. The construction of the city was long and tortuous, and only the strongest of the Gaiaks survived the heat and poisonous atmosphere of Helgidad. Hidden by the trees, you freeze, keeping absolutely still as the Kraan passes overhead and disappears towards the south. When you are sure that it is gone, you move off once again into the forest. You have covered about a quarter of a mile when you hear shouting and a noise like thunderclaps ahead. Edging nearer, you soon make out a clearing that you recognise to be the site of the ruins of Rormas, an ancient forest temple. A war party of Gaiaks, some 25 to 30 strong, are attacking the ruins from all sides. Many more of the Gaiaks are dead or dying amongst the broken pillars of marble, but still they assault whatever is hidden inside. Suddenly, a bolt of blue lightning rips through the front rank of Gaiaks, sending the armour-clad creatures tumbling in all directions. A Gaiak, taller than the others and dressed from head to foot in black chainmail, curses at his troops as he whips them forward with a barbed flail. With weapon ready, you move to the edge of the clearing, under cover of the thick foliage, and try to catch a glimpse of the defenders. To your amazement, the ruins are being defended by a young man no older than yourself. You recognise his sky-blue robes, embroidered with stars. He is a young Theurgist of the Magician's Guild of Torren, an apprentice in magic. 5 Gaiaks charge forward, their spears raised to stab the apprentice as he hurriedly retreats deeper into the ruins. You see him turn and raise his left hand just before a bolt of blue flame shoots from his fingertips into the snarling Gaiak soldiers. Close to where you are hidden, you see a Gaiak scuttle past and climb one of the pillars of the temple. He has a long curved dagger in his mouth, and he is about to jump on the young wizard standing below. If you wish to shout a warning to the wizard, turn to 241. If you wish to run forward and attack the Gaiak when he jumps, turn to 55. If you wish to pick up a chunk of temple marble and throw it at the Gaiak's head, turn to 302. Or if you would rather turn and leave the battle area and run back into the woods, turn to 101. Okay, I think what we'll do is we shall shout a warning to the wizard. The wizard heeds your cry and spins around just in time to loose a searing bolt of energy at the Gaiak. The creature's head disintegrates in flames and its twitching body falls in a heap at the foot of the pillar. The Gaiak officer sees you and shouts, "Ugot! Ugot!" to his cowering troops, who quickly run away from the ruins to the safety of the forest beyond. The young wizard wipes his brow and walks towards you, his hand extended in gratitude and friendship. He is a young, blonde-haired youth with deep, brooding eyes. His face is lined with exhaustion and the grime of battle, and his long sky-blue robes bear evidence of living rough in the wilds. He shakes your hand and bows. "My eternal thanks, Kai Lord. My powers are nearly drained. Had you not come to my aid, I fear I would have ended my days atop a Gaiak lance." He is weak and unsteady on his feet. You take his arm and sit him down upon the fallen pillar, where you listen intently to what he has to say. My name is Bannerden. I am a journeyman to the Brotherhood of the Crystal Star, which is the Magician's Guild of Torren. My guildmaster has sent me to your monastery with this urgent message. He removes a vellum envelope from inside his robes and hands it to you. As you see, I have opened the letter and read its contents. When the war started, I was on the highway with 2 travelling companions. The Krahn attacked us, and we lost each other in the forest during our escape. The letter is a warning to the Kai Lords that the Dark Lords have mustered a vast army beyond the Derncrag range. The Guildmaster urges the Kai to cancel the celebrations of Faemon and prepare for war. I fear we were betrayed, said Bannerden, his head bowed in sorrow. One of my order, a brother called Vonatar, has explored the forbidden mysteries of the Black Art. 10 days ago, he denounced the Brotherhood and killed one of our elders. He has since disappeared. It is rumoured that he now aids the Dark Lords. You tell Bannerden what has happened at the monastery, and of your mission to warn the king. Silently, he removes a gold chain from around his neck and hands it to you. On the chain is a small crystal star pendant. It is a symbol of my brotherhood, and we are both truly brothers in this hour of darkness. It is a talisman of good fortune. May it protect you on your road ahead. You thank him. Place the chain around your neck and slip the crystal star inside your shirt. Remember to mark this on your action chart. Bannerden bids you farewell. We must leave this place, lest the Gaiacs return with more of their loathsome kind to put an end to us. I must return to my guild. I bid you farewell, my brother. May the luck of the gods go with you. Okay, and a footnote there says, later books assume that you will keep the crystal star pendant and ask you if you possess it to see if you've ever met Bannerden. It also may or may not be useful in other situations. You may decide whether or not to keep the pendant. I think we shall keep it. With a wave of his hand, Bannerden leaves the ruins and you continue your mission. Pushing on through the thick woods ahead, you have not gone far when you realise several pairs of yellow eyes are watching you from the undergrowth to your left. Suddenly, a black arrow skims the top of your head. It is a Gaiac ambush, and you must run as fast as you can to escape it. As you race through the trees, you can hear the horrible cackle of the Gaiacs close behind you. Soon the trees start to thin out, and directly ahead you can see a rocky hillside. If you wish to break cover and climb the hill, or if you wish to change direction and continue your run through the forest, turn to 77. Okay, I think we should break cover and climb the hill. The hillside is steep and the earth is loose and slippery. You chance a swift glance over your shoulder and see the 2 Gaiacs emerge from the woods. They start to climb after you. About halfway from the peak of the hill, you spot a cave to your right, almost totally hidden by a landslide. Well, since we have the Kai discipline of camouflage, I think we should take that. You pull up your hood and drop down behind the rocks that litter the mouth of the cave. Holding your breath, you curl up into a tight ball and completely cover yourself with your green cloak. Only a few minutes later, the Gaiacs clamber over the rocky ledge outside, their evil yellow eyes furtively searching every crevasse of the hillside. Then, cursing in their strange tongue, they leave the ledge and start to climb towards the peak. You silently thank your old masters for teaching you the Kai discipline of camouflage. It has probably saved your life on this occasion. If you wish to explore the cave, turn to 33, or if you wish to leave and descend the hill in case the Gaiacs return, turn to 248. Let's have a look around. The floor of the cave is quite dry and dusty. As you explore deeper in the half-light, you detect the stale odour of rotting flesh. Littering the crevasse are bones of fur and teeth of several small animals. You notice a small cloth bag amongst these remains, which you open to discover 3 gold crowns. Pocketing these coins, you leave what appears to be the lair of a mountain cat and carefully descend the hill. You reach the base of the hill and hurry into the forest. After only a few minutes, you discover an old forest track. If you wish to follow this track north, turn to 44, or if you wish to follow this track east, turn to 300. I think we should go north. Without warning, the old track ends abruptly at the edge of a steep slope. The ground here is very loose and unstable. You lose your footing and fall headlong over the ledge. Pick a number from the random number table. If you have picked a number that is 0 to 4, turn to 277, or if the number is 5 to 9, turn to 338. Okay, let's see. Number 1. Don't know if that's good or bad. When you awake, you find yourself lying at the foot of a steep slope in a tangle of tall grasses. Your backpack and weapon are missing and your head aches. You cannot tell how long you have been unconscious, but you realise that you must not delay in pressing on with your mission. Standing up, you see your backpack is intact, but the weapon is broken in two and is now useless. Remember to cross it off your action chart. If you have more than one weapon, only use one of them is broken. You may choose which one it is. You quickly pick up your backpack and move off into the trees ahead. Well, that's not quite so good. I have now lost my axe. You have been walking for over half an hour when your eye is caught by some bright red flowers growing near to a mossy bank. You recognise the plants to be lornspur, a rare and beautiful herb much prized for its healing properties. Kneeling down, you pick up a handful of lornspur and place it into your backpack. You may eat this herb to regain lost endurance points. Each meal of lornspur will restore 3 endurance points, and you have gathered enough for 2 such meals. Closing your pack, you continue your mission. If you wish to head northeast, turn to 347. If you wish to head east, turn to 295. The footnote says each meal of lornspur may be consumed when prompted for a meal, in which case it fulfills the meal requirement in addition to restoring 3 endurance points. Lornspur may also be consumed at any other time to restore endurance without having any significance as a meal. Okay, well, I think we should take 2 of those. Okay, I think we shall head east. You have continued your journey for about 15 minutes when suddenly a black arrow whistles past your head and embeds itself in a tree. Instinctively you duck and draw your weapon. We haven't got one. If you wish to remain where you are in order to try and spot the hidden archer, or if you wish to run for the cover of the denser undergrowth. Let's try and run for cover under the denser undergrowth. You dive for cover, not a moment too soon, for a hail of black arrows scream out of the woods and bombard the area where you were standing seconds before. Pulling your cloak around you to blend into the dense bracken, you dash through the forest and away from the hidden ambushes as fast as possible. This entire area is infested by Gyaks and you must escape as quickly as you can. You run without rest for over an hour until you happen to fall upon a straight forest path leading towards the east. You follow the path, taking care to keep watch for signs of the enemy. The path soon enters a large clearing. In the centre of the clearing is a tree much taller and wider than any others that you have seen in the forest. Looking up through the massive branches, you can see a large tree house some 25 to 30 feet above the ground. There is no ladder, but the gnarled bark of the tree offers many footholds. If you wish to climb the tree and search the tree house, turn to 307, or if you would rather press on, turn to 213. I think we shall climb the tree and search the treehouse. Your climb is swift and easy. It reminds you of the many trees that you climbed and explored near Torren as a child, when you wanted to pick fruit or to look out over the beautiful countryside of Sommerland. Pushing open the treehouse door, you see an old hermit huddled in the corner of the cabin. A look of great relief spreads across his face as he recognises your green Kai cloak. He tells you that this area is full of Gyaks and that he has encountered over 40 Kran flying over his home in the last 3 hours. They were heading east. He scurries over to a cupboard and returns with a plate of fresh fruit. You thank him and place the fruit in your backpack. There is enough for 1 meal. The hermit also produces a fine warhammer and lays it upon a table by the door. Your need is greater than mine, Kai Lord, he says. Please take this trusty warhammer if you so wish. You may take this weapon only if you exchange it for another weapon already in your possession, for it is the only defence that the hermit has against the enemy. Thanking the old man, you carefully descend the tree and continue on with your mission. Well, considering we have no weapons, we have nothing to exchange it with. You have been trudging through the forest for nearly 2 hours. The nagging fear that you are lost begins to seem a reality. Apart from the occasional cry of a Kran in the far distance, you have seen or heard of no evidence that the enemy is in this part of the forest. As you descend a rocky hillock, you see something unusual in the tangled woods ahead. Surrounded by thorny briars and closely packed roots, you see the entrance of a tunnel disappearing into the hillside beyond. It is approximately 7 feet in height and just over 10 feet wide. As you get closer, you can feel a slight breeze coming from the inky blackness. If the other end of the tunnel emerges on the far side of the hill, it could save you many hours of difficult climbing, but it could also harbour unknown danger. If you wish to enter the tunnel, turn to 170, or if you wish to prefer to climb the hillside, turn to 280. I think we shall enter the tunnel. The tunnel is dark and the air is much cooler than outside. You carefully advance with one hand on the tunnel wall to aid your sense of direction. You have been in total darkness for 3 minutes when you detect the foul smell of decay ahead, similar to rotting meat. If you have a torch and tinderbox in your pack, you may light the torch to see your way ahead. Unfortunately, we have no torch. Suddenly, something heavy drops from the tunnel ceiling onto your back, and you fall to your knees. It is a burrow crawler, and you must fight it, for it is trying to strangle you with its long, slimy tentacles. If you do not have a torch, deduct 3 points from your combat skill during this fight. The burrow crawler is immune to mind blast and animal kinship. Now this is going to be quite a tough battle because we do not have a weapon and we have no torch. So that's a -6 combat ratio. This is going to be quite messy. Okay, so the first score is a 3. The enemy loses 2 and Lone Wolf loses 5. Okay, round 2. Oh, that's a bit better. 9. That equates to enemy loses 8, Lone Wolf loses nothing. So that's actually not been too bad. The burrow crawler is now dead. The slimy creature lets out a long and ghastly death cry and collapses. You are near to panic and scramble to your feet, grabbing what you think to be your belt from the jaws of the dead beast. You can see light in the far distance, and you sprint for it as fast as you can. When you finally emerge into the daylight, you fall onto the leafy ground and fight for breath in painful gasps. Slowly sitting upright, you notice that you are still wearing your belt. You had not lost it after all. What you had grabbed from the jaws of the burrow crawler was a leather strap with a small pouch and a sheathed dagger halfway along it. You break open the clasp to find it contains 20 gold crowns. You may take both the dagger and the crowns if you are able to. Feeling a little better now, you gather your equipment together and push on eastwards into the forest. That is good because now we have a weapon, plus a lot more money, to 24 crowns. The forest begins to thin out until finally you can make out a road through the trees ahead. The highway is full of people heading south. Many are wheeling their possessions along on handcarts. If you wish to join the refugees and perhaps learn more of what has happened into the north, turn to 30. If you would prefer to continue to move south but under the cover of the trees, turn to 167. I think we should join the refugees and find out what has been going on. The people look tired and hungry. They have come many miles from their burning city. Suddenly, you hear the beat of huge wings coming from the north. "Cran! Cran! Hide yourselves!" the cry goes up all along the road. Just in front of you, a wagon carrying small children breaks down, its right wheel jammed in a furrow. The children scream in panic. If you wish to help the children, turn to 194, or if you would rather run for the cover of the trees, turn to 261. Let's try to help the children. You sprint towards the wagon. People are running everywhere in panic as the Kran make their attack, carrying their poor victims off into the darkening sky. A large Kran is hovering above the wagon, and 3 snarling Gaiks drop from its back onto the startled horses. You must fight them, or leave the wagon and run for the safety of a nearby farmhouse. Okay, I think we shall run to the farmhouse. Kicking open the door, you drive into the farmhouse. A Kran soars overhead, letting out a shriek of victory, a victim hanging in its claws. Getting to your feet, you find yourself alone, but propped against the fireplace is a warhammer. You may take this weapon if you wish. Okay, just take that. If you want to stay in the farmhouse, turn to 81. If you would rather feel safer in the forest, you can make a dash by turning to 320. Or if you wish to search the room further, turn to 199. Search the room further. Most of the cupboards and drawers are empty. Whoever lived here took nearly everything they owned with them, but you do manage to scrape together enough fruit in the cellar for 1 meal. You may mark this on your action chart. Okay, I'm going to take that. After nearly an hour, the Kran and their cruel riders vanish towards the west. As the shocked refugees start to emerge from the woods, you can hear the sound of horses in the distance galloping nearer. You stay hidden and wait as the riders come closer. They are the cavalry of the King's Guard, wearing the white uniforms of His Majesty's army. Okay, if you wish to call to them, turn to 183, or if you would rather continue along the forest edge towards the south, turn to 200. Okay, I think we shall avoid them and go south. Night is starting to close in. The shadows of the forest are growing longer and darker. Just as you are about to stop and rest, you see through the trees of a line of people moving south along a wide highway. Moving closer, you notice a large merchant's caravan in the centre of the dusty turnpike. It is drawn by 6 large horses and is moving much faster than any of the other traffic. This could be your chance to reach the capital city as quickly as possible. If you wish to use the Kai discipline of camouflage to hide in amongst the packing cases strapped to the roof, turn to 168, or if you wish to jump onto the caravan, turn to 78. Okay, well, since we have the Kai discipline of camouflage, I think we might as well use it. You pull yourself to the top of the opulent caravan and nestle amongst the travelling cases and bags. Night will soon engulf the highway. A chill wind blows from the west, and you pull your cloak around yourself to keep warm. You listen to the voices below, and you can smell the mouth-watering aroma of spiced meat. It reminds you that you are very hungry and must now take a meal. The fatigue of your ordeal finally catches up with you, and you drift off into a restless sleep. Okay. Well, I could use my hunting discipline to get a meal, but I think since we're on a caravan, I think that might be a bit difficult. So I think what we should do, we should just eat a normal meal. You are awoken by the cries of a Kran circling above the caravan. It is early morning, and the sky is clear and bright. You can see a pack of doom wolves less than a quarter of a mile away along the highway ahead. They are preparing to attack. You must act quickly. If you decide to gather your equipment and run for the cover of the trees, turn to 188, or if you decide to cut free one of the horses and try to break through the attacking doom wolves to the clear road beyond, then turn to 16. I think that sounds like a good plan. You manage to free a horse from the straps securing it to the caravan. It is frightened by the scent of the approaching doom wolves and the cries of their evil riders, the Gayaks. Preparing your weapon, you spur your skittish horse towards the oncoming beasts. They are less than 50 yards away, and they are lowering their lances at you as they get nearer and nearer. You are charging head-on towards each other. You see the razor-fanged mouth of a doom wolf and hear the hideous cries of the Gayaks. 2 of them are coming straight for you. You are saved from certain death when your horse jumps at the approaching beasts, knocking them both to the ground. You lash out at the Gayak and open a large wound in his head, and then suddenly, as if by a miracle, you're through and racing on down the highway, clear of the rest of the pack. But a shadow follows you. It is a Kran, and it has started its dive. Its target is you. If you veer off the highway towards the cover of the trees, turn to 171, or if you wish to press on regardless of the Kran and gallop flat out down the highway, turn to 120. I think using the cover of the trees will be best here. You are at the very edge of the wood when your horse rears up in agony. The Kran has sunk its claws deep into the horse's hind legs and is trying to knock you to the ground with its wings. The ghoulish Gayak rider squeals with delight as he stabs at you with his spear. You jump to the ground and dash for the trees, leaving the poor dying horse in the clutches of the Kran. The forest here is sparse and hilly. It does not give you much cover from an attack from the air. You move as quickly as you can from tree to tree to avoid the Kran, but you can hear the sound of doom wolves close behind. If you have the Kai discipline of camouflage, turn to 237, or if you do not, turn to 72. You make full use of your Kai discipline and quickly burrow deep into the loose earth of the wooded hillside. Covering yourself with your cloak, you pull a loose branch across your hastily dug shelter. Pick a number from the random number table. If you have picked a number 0 to 4, then you have passed undetected, 10 to 265. If you have picked number 5 to 9, then you are not so lucky, 10 to 72. Okay. Oh dear, we're not so lucky. You turn to face a snarling Gaiac and the razor-fanged jaws of its mount. You must fight them as one enemy. Okay, fight. Okay, at least this time it's slightly better odds. +3 combat ratio. First round we get a 9, which is a good score. Okay, that equates to the enemy loses 14 endurance points and Lone Wolf loses none. Okay, second round. Okay, number this time is 2, which is not so good. That results in the enemy loses 6 and Lone Wolf loses 3. So the enemy's down to 4. Okay, third round. Okay, the number this time is 6. I think that will probably have killed the Gaiac and the Doom Wolf. Enemy loses 10, Lone Wolf loses 2. Okay, if you win, yes, turn to 265. You quickly move off into the forest before more Doom Wolves or Kraan appear. You have walked for more than an hour when you reach the top of a rocky hill. The sight that befalls you on the other side is one of hope, but there is also a daunting challenge to be faced. You can see the tall grey-white walls and glimmering spires of Holmgard, its banners fluttering from their battlements in the fresh morning breeze. Stretching out towards the west, the river Elidil traces its course from the mountains of the Derncrag range to the Holmgulf. But from below the mountain peaks you can see a vast black army marching relentlessly on towards the city. To your right you can see the highway heading off over the rolling plain towards Holmgard. At a run, you could reach the outer fieldworks of the city's defences in an hour, but you would be in the open for most of the time and vulnerable to attack by Kraan. However, ahead of you, a wide and muddy river drifts sluggishly towards the Elidil. You could use the cover of the river banks and swim towards the capital, or towards the left lies the graveyard of the ancients. These tombs and crumbling monuments to a forgotten age would conceal your approach, but it is a forbidden area. Many are the unnamed horrors that lie there in restless sleep, waiting to consume the unwary trespasser. If you will try your luck by the highway, 10 to 58, if you feel that you stand a better chance of reaching the capital via the river, then 10 to 135. Or, if you are brave enough to risk the unknown perils of the graveyard of the ancients, 10 to 102. Well, I think we're going to risk the unknown perils of the graveyard. As you descend the rocky slope towards the graveyard of the ancients, you are aware of a strange mist and cloud that swells all around this grey and forbidding place, blocking the sun and covering the graveyard in a perpetual gloom. A chill creeps forward to greet your approach. With a feeling of deep dread, you enter the eerie necropolis. Your passage through the graveyard will not be easy, for the ground is broken and covered with a thorny graveweed. This wicked briar tears your cloak and cuts your legs. The air hangs heavy and still. Foul gases seep from the open crypts, and the haunting murmur of distant whispering fills your ears. Carefully, you approach a gap between two ancient pillars and part the graveweed with your cloaked hand. Suddenly, the ground collapses beneath you, and you fall in a tumble of earth and stone. You are winded, but not hurt. You have fallen 15 feet or so through the roof of an underground tomb. The walls are sheer, and you cannot climb them. An arched tunnel leads out of the tomb towards the east, in front of which lies the sarcophagus of some ancient noble. If you wish to use the Kai discipline of Sixth Sense, 10 to 65. If you wish to open the sarcophagus to see if it contains any treasure, 10 to 242. If you wish to leave via the tunnel, 10 to 104. Okay, well I think we shall use our Kai discipline of Sixth Sense here. Your senses scream at you that this place is very evil. Leave as quickly as you can. The walls are dank and slimy. The stale air chokes you, and cobwebs brush across your face. You can feel panic grip your stomach as the tunnel gets darker and darker. You reach a junction where the tunnel meets a corridor leading from north to south. If you wish to go north, go to 26. If you wish to go south, turn to 100. I think we should try south. The cold corridor suddenly makes an abrupt turning towards the east. You notice a greenish glow that lights the tunnel in the far distance. As you creep nearer, you can see that the corridor opens out into a larger chamber. The strange light seems to emanate from a large bowl resting upon the top of a granite throne. On a plinth in front of the throne stands a statue. It looks like a winged serpent curved in the shape of an S. If you wish to sit on the throne, turn to 161. If you wish to examine the statue, turn to 133. Or if you wish to look for an exit from this chamber, turn to 1257. Okay, I think we shall sit on the throne. As you sit down, the stone serpent slowly moves forward on its plinth. You suddenly break out in a cold sweat and grasp your weapon with trembling fingers in case it should attack. A red forked tongue appears from the head of this strange statue and dips into the bowl of green light above your head. Slowly the tongue re-emerges, holding a golden key, which, to your surprise, it drops into your lap. A panel in the east wall clicks open to reveal an exit. You take the key and leave as quickly as possible. Turn to 209. You see ahead a corridor sloping upwards, and as you reach the top of the slope, a stone portal slides across to reveal another passage ahead. You step through the opening, which then quickly closes with a crunch. The corridor soon widens into a large hall. At the far end, a stone staircase leads up to a huge door. 2 black candles on either side of the stone steps dimly illuminate the chamber. You notice that no wax has melted, and as you get nearer, you can feel that they give off no heat. Ancient engravings cover the stone surfaces of the walls. Anxious to leave this evil tomb, you examine the door for a latch. An ornate pin appears to lock the door, but there is also a keyhole in the lock plate. If you have a golden key and wish to use it, turn to 326. If you have the Kai discipline of mind over matter, turn to 151, or if you wish to remove the pin, turn to 337. Well, we have the golden key, so we'll use it. You carefully insert the key and turn it clockwise. You hear a dull click. The key works. You lift out the pin, and the large granite door slowly swings towards you on hidden hinges. The grey half-light of the graveyard floods into the tomb. The exit is overgrown with graveweed, and you suffer many cuts to your face and arms as you fight your way through to the surface. Looking back, you see the tomb door slowly close, and a cruel, inhuman laugh appears to rise out of the very ground on which you stand. In blind panic, you race through the eerie necropolis towards the south gate. At last, you reach the wooden field work surrounding the outer city. As you race towards a sentry post, you can hear the excited shouts of the guards cheering you on. Thank the gods that they recognise you, for you must appear a ragged and suspicious figure. Your cloak is torn and hangs in tatters, your face is scratched and blood-smeared, and the dust of the graveyard covers you from head to toe. Splashing through a shallow stream, you stagger towards the gate. The full horror of the graveyard encounter begins to catch up with you. The last thing that you recall before exhaustion robs you of consciousness is falling into the outstretched arms of 2 soldiers who have run from the fieldworks to help you. You black out for only a few minutes before you are revived with a measure of strong spirit. Feeling weary, but thankful to be alive, you lean on the shoulders of the king's men, and you stagger towards the outer defences. As you reach the walls of the fieldworks, the large oak gates open, and you are quickly hurried inside. A sergeant, blood-stained and battle-weary, calls to an officer who turns and recognises your cloak. "My lord," he says, "where are the other Kai masters? We are in desperate need of their wisdom. The Dark Lords press us most cruelly, and casualties are high." You inform the brave officer of the terrible fate of your kinsman, and the urgency of your mission to seek the king's counsel. Without saying a word, he motions to a soldier to bring forward 2 horses. You both mount and gallop off towards the high city wall of Holmgard. You reach the main gates of the capital and stare in awe at the height of the city's walls. 200 feet high, the walls of Holmgard have withstood the ravages of both time and the Dark Lords. You and the officer race through the tunnel of the inner gatehouse, 100 yards in length, and finally halt outside the doorway of the main watchtower. Great crowds of soldiers and civilians are running to and fro. If you wish to continue following the officer, turn to 3. If you feel that you stand a better chance of making your way to the King's Citadel on your own, turn to 144. I think we shall follow the officer. Staying close to the officer, you follow him through an arched portal and up a short flight of stairs to a long hall. Soldiers run back and forth, bearing orders on ornate scrolls to officers stationed around the city wall. A haggard and scar-faced man, dressed in the white and purple robes of the king's court, approaches you and bids you to follow him to the citadel. If you wish to follow this man, turn to 196. If you wish to decline his offer and return to the crowded streets, turn to 144. Let's follow the man. You follow the man into a small library off the main hall. He pushes one of the many books on the shelves which line all 4 walls, and you hear a metallic click. One section of the bookcase slowly slides back to reveal a hidden passage. If you wish to follow the man into the passage, turn to 332, or if you do not want to enter the dark corridor, leave the Guildhall and return to the street, turn to 144. We shall follow the man into the passage. You walk for nearly 10 minutes along a dark and winding corridor, and then start to climb a steep staircase to a small wooden door. The man presses a secret catch, and the door opens. You enter a large, plushly decorated bedroom with a huge marble bath that takes up one corner of the room. The man suggests that you refresh yourself here whilst he seeks an audience with the king. You quickly bathe and change into some white robes that have been left out on a large marble table. Shortly, the man returns and leads you through a long corridor lined with exquisite tapestries. You finally arrive at a large door guarded by 2 soldiers wearing silver armour. You are about to meet the king. You enter the Chamber of State, a magnificent hall decorated lavishly in white and gold. The king and his closest advisers are studying a large map spread upon a large marble plinth in the centre of the chamber. Their faces are lined with worry and concentration. A silence fills the hall as you tell of the death of your kinsman and of your perilous journey to the citadel. As you finish your story, the king approaches and takes your right hand in his. Lone Wolf, you have selfless courage, the quality of a true Kai Lord. Your journey here has been one of great peril, and although your news comes as a grievous blow, the spirit of your determination is like a beacon of hope to us all in this dark hour. You have brought great honour to the memory of your masters, and for that we praise you. You received the praise and heartfelt thanks of the entire hall, an honour that brings a certain redness to your young face. The king raises his hand, and all the voices cease. You have done all that Summerland could have asked of a loyal son, but she is greatly in need of you still. The Dark Lords are powerful once more, and their ambition knows no bounds. Our only hope lies within Durinol, with the power that once defeated the Dark Lords an age ago. Lone Wolf, you are the last of the Kai. You have the skills. Will you journey to Durinol and return with the Somersword, the Sword of the Sun? Only with that gift of the gods may we crush this evil and save our land. If you wish to accept the quest of the Somersword, begin your adventure with Book 2 of the Lone Wolf Adventures, Fire on the Water. Okay, so we've successfully managed to make it through Book 1. So this will be the end of this video, and hopefully you'll catch me again and we shall go through into Book 2. Thanks for watching.